Now, President William Ruto today continued with the government's defense of police action during protests amidst growing condemnation of the resultant police killings. The president's defense comes as non-governmental players question the lack of transparency on the number of those that died in the hands of the police.
For the second time in under 1 week, President William Ruto has come to the defense of the country's police service over its actions in handling the anti-government protesters.
Wale watu wanajaribu kuchochea ati askari wetu ati wamefanya makosa kulinda haki, kutetea haki. Tuko na askari wengi zaidi ya 300. Wengi wako hospitalini, wameumizwa, wamepigwa mawe, wameumizwa na hata marisasi, wakichunga mali na maisha ya wananchi wa Kenya kutoka wakora na wahuni na watu ambao wanataka kuharibu usalama na kuharibu mali na kupoteza maisha ya Wakenya.
The president seemingly reading from the same script from his officers in the national security sector who have echoed similar sentiments, shining the spotlight on the role and conduct of law enforcement.
Na sisi ambao ni vitengo vya usalama, umetuagiza ya kwamba kitu cha kwanza haungetaka vitengo vya usalama vijihusishe na mambo ya siasa.
A statement from the Principal Secretary in the Ministry of Interior earlier this week stated that 1 police officer had died while 305 had been injured in the protests. It also listed the damage to police vehicles, police stations and business premises. There was no mention of civilian casualties aside from the cases of 115 assault and robberies that affected civilians. But perhaps more telling than the omission of civilian details in the government's report is a seeming endorsement of this violence by insiders. David Ndii, the president's economic advisor, stating in a tweet that one of the choices one makes when getting involved in power politics is to be prepared to have blood on one's hands. This in response to a tweet that questioned his views on police brutality. It is this missing link in the data of the affected people in the protests that is raising eyebrows and concern amongst human rights agencies. To date, there seems to be no official number of those who died at the hands of the police in the protests, despite numerous updates from government and security agents on the protests.
Is an illegal order, as we are hearing, on the police from the executive not to release any data on injuries and deaths that occurred from police violence.
The silence from the authorities notwithstanding, those affected have attributed some of the deaths of their kin to the police, with autopsy reports backing them up.
Hata mimi mwenyewe nimeona risasi imepika hapa, maumivu ilikuwa hapa, kapitia pande nyingine.
IMLU, which has been monitoring the police action during the protests, says in just this month of protest alone, it has registered a total of 37 deaths at the hands of police. IMLU's reports shows that the bulk of the killings took place in Kisumu, with 12 deaths reported, Mlolongo with 5 deaths, and Kisii recording 3 deaths. All the deaths, save for one caused by tear gas asphyxiation, were caused by what IMLU describes as gunshot live bullet.
3 young men shot on the head. 1 20-year-old lady shot from the back. 1 young man, 2 bullets on the chest. So they basically died. They were basically executed in cold blood.
The organization says the report is incomplete, and with little to no information forthcoming from the government, the final tally of those killed by police will be much higher. IPOA also says it is actively investigating all allegations of deaths from gunshot injuries to civilian and police that occurred during the protests. It is also separately working on a report of what it monitored of the conduct of the police during the protests. Brenda Wanga, Citizen TV.